clearly the question on everybody's mind. I'm not going to bury the lead. Do you have any updates on Rasul Faison and where things stand?
No, no updates. Nothing different than what Coach told y'all at media days the other week. I will say that our compliance department have worked extremely hard, along with Jeremiah and others in our administration, myself, and then Rasul too has done everything he pretty much can do, and that kid's in great spirits. You would never know it walking into our building. He's been participating in everything, and he's preparing like he's going to play. So until we hear otherwise, we're going to go that route, and he's going to prepare that way as well. And I think at the same time, everyone else is ready to go in that room, and we'll just it's out of our hands. You can control what you can control right now, and we're kind of just in wait and see mode.
Does that mean if I'm okay? Let me hold on. Let me ask you this first. Do you envision a decision being rendered prior to the first day of practice?
I would sure hope so, but again, I don't have a timeline. I don't have a timetable on that.
Okay. If there isn't one, is he allowed to practice? Do we know?
There gets a little hairy there.
Shane on line one.
No, that's a decision that we'll have to talk about. There's some waivers and some things that we can file and talk about, but obviously that's going to be a decision that comes down from our administration and compliance and things like that.
Okay. All right. That makes sense. Yeah, I feel like, Darren, I've been under the impression for a long time, not just about this case here, but if there's a kid who is kind of waiting in the wings for clearance, that he would be able to, in any sport, basically be able to practice up till they say, hey, you can't play, and then it stops that day. But I don't know if that requires waivers just for practice or what. I don't know what.
Yeah, there's a whole set of things, kind of paperwork / legally behind that with the NCAA, because technically you have to be eligible to practice. There's some waivers that you can file and et cetera, like we had to even do for the spring, because as you know, he wasn't eligible during the spring. Right. So as this process was going on, so nothing that we're not unfamiliar with. So we'll cross that bridge when we get there.
I would imagine that his level of frustration is incredibly high right now, but you've mentioned he's been in pretty good spirits.
He's awesome. We talk all the time. He's an awesome human being, been through a lot in his life, and I think it's probably hardened him, in ways in which probably none of us can imagine. But he's awesome, and he's been attacking stuff like this isn't really on his mind when I know it is. So more credit to him, but also I think his teammates have really kind of lifted him up, right? Everyone in the building, and they've all been super supportive, and we're an extension of his family, and we're here to support him in any way, in whichever way this goes.
If you can't answer the question, just say you can't answer the question. It's no big deal. I'm trying to figure out the best way to ask it, because I do know that there's rules that surround the responses to these questions, my man. Is there anything that can be provided to the general public, information-wise, that would give us a little bit more clarity on why this situation is so unique?
Probably not.
Okay.
Yeah. I think, as it plays out, we'll be able to talk about some of those things, just kind of not right now. But his situation is unique because he's been a lot of places.
Yeah.
And that's really kind of what makes it a little bit different than some of the other ones out there. And I will say this, like, in terms of the NCAA and even just in college athletics, no one case is the same. Yes, you can apply some precedent and some things that occur, but they treat every case independently, right? So, this case, yes, as there are things that I'm sure apply from other cases, but it's still different at the same time, if that makes sense.
Sure. Yeah, it sure absolutely does. All right, well, we'll leave that there because we don't have anything. So
Yeah.
y'all done everything you can do. Now it's basically in their court. Now, while all this has been going on, you signed Isaiah Augustave, and I got that right. People have been saying Augustave and all that. It's Augustave. And
That's right.
I got it right because my man Steve Fink put out the media guide, and we got the pronunciations for these
Yeah, there you go.
So
Finkster.
thanks to the Finkster for doing that. Tell us his story, and I'll paraphrase this, or I'll throw something in real quick. I've mentioned this a few times, Darren, and I feel like I know that you'll talk about his road and kind of how it ended up getting him here to South Carolina, but he played for a team last year that threw the football well over 70% of the time. Number one. Number two, they were the worst offensive line in the country. And he was the top back on that team in Colorado. So I personally think that says something in addition to the prospect he was coming out of high school. But Darren, were y'all planning, if the right guy was kind of out there, regardless of the Faison situation, were you still going to try to sign another tailback? And then how did he get here?
Yeah, I think the fit was right, and it just so happened that he was kind of lingering out there. I've been following it just a little bit, and you always have guys that you're looking at, regardless if we had spots left. We had one spot left, and we were going to do a couple different things with that. But you always got to have options. You can't just wait until the last minute. So it was a possibility, something that we talked about. You always want to have depth in that room at that position. I think especially Gamecock fans will know from a couple years back, you want that running back room to have some really good pieces. And I think we do, even before Isaiah came in, right? But you always want to add competition, number one. Number two, you want to add depth. And when you can go get a guy that played in this league, right? I mean, I think a lot of people forget he started and played as a true freshman at Arkansas. So this guy understands what the level of competition is like in this league, let alone starting at another, Power 4, Power 5 conference, right? So it goes back to his time at Arkansas. I remember recruiting him when I was at Auburn. Kind of just watching his tape from when he was down in Florida. So you stay up and up with who's going where and from when you're recruiting. The other kind of connection, Jameel Walker was the head strength coach at Arkansas then when Isaiah was there. So had some rave reviews about his character and his work ethic, right? So that went a long way for us. Then you watch the tape from Colorado and I won't say some of the things that you just said, but you pointed them out a little bit. They were obviously a very pass-happy offense, but he also played in some big-time games. I mean, let's not forget, say what you want about, their situation. I have a ton of respect for what they're doing. They played in some big-time games, right, that were prime time on primetime TV and all that. So this kid's not afraid of the bright lights, right? And he's played in some SEC football games, and he's also played in some big-time games with, his head coach who garnered a lot of attention. That program garnered a lot of attention, and I don't think he ever flinched, and he had some big-time plays against some really good defenses that they played against last year when he got the opportunity to run the ball, right? So it was kind of a no-brainer for us. Why would we not add someone that checked all the boxes from obviously a talent standpoint that's played big time football in this conference and another conference at this level, right? And then you get to know the person, the young man, and it was just a really great fit. And I don't think he's going to flinch. He's come in and worked his tail off. The saying, you if you stay ready, you don't got to get ready, and that's kind of his mentality. And I think we brought him in on like a Thursday visit. We kind of call these like free agent visits in the NFL now. It's kind of like what it is. It was like a 28-hour visit. He didn't need, all the flash and all that stuff. He didn't really care about that. Wanted to get to know some of the guys, go out to dinner, and then he went home and turned around. We signed him that next day. came right back and got cleared and all that, and then started to work out with the team. So he's ready to roll, and this was even before he even found his permanent apartment. He just wants to work, and he's really kind of gone about his business the right way.